All right, so today in front of me from Middle West Spirits, we have their Sherry Cask Finished Bourbon, but this one is at cask strength. So just like their standard release, this cask strength version was heavily toasted in American white oak and then matured in sun-blackened Spanish solera sherry casks. Still 6 years old, but this one comes in at 116 proof. The mash bill, they actually use all 4 grains on this. So they use their sweet yellow corn, the Ohio soft red winter wheat, their dark pumpernickel rye, and their 2-row malted barley. Definitely excited to get into this one. Their standard release from this double cask collection, I gave an 8.32, which was considered a bunker bottle for me. Definitely excited to get into this one and see where I grade this one, guys. Without further ado, let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the nose. Yeah, so I mean, the nose is definitely very similar. Again, there's a little bit more of that ethanol on there to let you know that it's sitting at a higher proof. Still get some of the that honey and those like golden raisins, but I definitely get more of the darker fruits. I feel like the darker fruits are just a little bolder on the nose on this one. Yeah, the plum and that leather definitely seem a little more bold. They come off more bold, more rich. And then like there's that caramel that's kind of just like that. It's just like an undertone of caramel that kind of just goes throughout the whole thing. So again, a lot of that honey, the golden raisins, and then there's that deep dark plum, and then some of that leather that appears. And I do get a little more of that oak and clove presence, like I did on their standard release. Definitely, it just seems like it's a more amped up version of that release. More bold, just kind of in your face. But that ethanol, you do get a little bit more of that ethanol because this one is 116 proof, so it was a pretty big difference from the last release. Yeah, beautiful nose, guys. Get into the palate. Cheers. That is freaking incredible. So, what a difference between their standard release from the double cask collection, which was absolutely delicious. This definitely takes it up a notch. Again, the front of the palate there is those chocolate covered cherries, like it's the chocolate, the cherry, and then some of that rye spice. I think some of that proof really starts to develop there on the center of the palate. A little bit of some rye spice in there as well, not necessarily the graininess, but the actual spice. But that chocolate covered cherry is just all over. That sweetness all over the front of the palate. Let's get a second sip. So yeah. Second sip, more of those darker fruits. Again, started to develop there on the center of the palate. Rye spice kind of took it down a notch. Those dates, some figs. The darker fruits are just more. They're so much bolder and like in your face from the standard release. Just everything is just like tuned up, just like that much more. The chocolate covered cherries is just every sip right on the front of the palate. Like I said, the rye spice kind of died down a little bit on that spiciness. The proof is definitely still there. That 160, it definitely drinks like it's 116 proof. Maybe even a little higher, maybe up in that 120 range. But yeah, chocolate covered cherries, and then those figs and those dates, those darker fruits, just way bolder and in your face from that standard release. And then into the finish, again, you start to pick up some of that sweet oak. Definitely some sweetness that kind of follows through there. I don't necessarily get that chocolate covered cherry that flows all the way through, but some of those darker fruits, some of the that fig for sure kind of flows through into the finish. I mean, this is just an outstanding pour of whiskey right here. And it's just so mouth coating and viscous and rich. Let's get into the last sip, guys. Cheers. Yeah, so the back of the palate now, like the middle to the back of the palate, I almost get like this spicy walnut that has like some clove that's clove intertwined on there. A lot of very similar notes from their standard release, but everything is just amped up even more. Every single one of these flavors is just a little bit more than before. You know, like a spicy walnut, hint there of like ginger, some sweet oak, a little bit of clove there that follows through into the finish. And it just lingers. It just lingers and lingers. This is a medium to long finish, and I think that definitely had to do with that proof point. Very mouth coating, like the last release. Man, this is just such an incredible pour of whiskey here. It really is. This is everything that I would want in a finished whiskey. It's an absolutely stellar pour. Again, such a big difference from the standard release to their, this 116 proof version. Outstanding bottle here, guys, from Middle West Spirits. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. And again, I want to send a big thank you over to Middle West Spirits for supplying me with this bottle to review on the channel. So during my initial review of their standard release, I had said in there that I wish that this, I wish there was a cask strength version of this release. And just so happens that Middle West reached out to me and said, hey, we actually had a few extra bottles of a cask strength release. Let us get it over to you so you can review it. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be very, very honest. This to me is a next level pour. The standard release, I graded, I believe, an 8.3, which is a bunker bottle for me. It's something I'd love to have a backup of and put it up. This is one of the best whiskeys I've had in a very long time. I'm going to give this a 9.1. A 9.1. Probably one of the very first 9s I've reviewed on my channel, other than some stuff from a few years back. But my whiskey score for this is a 9.1. It is some of the best whiskey that I have had in quite some time. Just fantastic mouthfeel. It has just such bold and dominant flavors on this. And the standard version was fantastic. This just really took it up another notch. I think it allowed for a little bit more of that spice there to develop on the center of the palate on that first sip, but still drank at a higher proof point. Again, it drank like it was like 120 proof, long lingering finish. Again, just the flavors were just a little, just bold, very bold and in your face. Where, with the standard release, they were there, but just like you just wanted just that little bit more. And this cask strength version of that delivered. It delivered on everything that I want in a whiskey, let alone a finished whiskey. This is probably one of the best finished whiskeys I have had in a very long time. Maybe my top 5 ever. 9.1 is my final score for this. Again, this is some of the best whiskey that I've had in a very long time. So guys, Middle West Spirits, thank you again for the opportunity to review this on the channel. So guys, if you're looking for more reviews like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell notification to be alerted of any upcoming reviews or live streams. You can also find me on Instagram at Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. And until next time, guys, stay dusty.